Hi, I'm Chris, and this is
Murray.
So we got a submission from somebody who is unable to make a video, but we felt that the stories were important to share. So we're just going to read what we received. So here we go.
So, Miss Amber Eckelberger, who is now Mrs. Amber McLeod. I came to Canada with my parents as a child of 7 from Germany in 1952. I met Miss Eckelberger at Albert's school this fall. Since I did not know a word of English, this lady took it upon herself to work one-on-one with me so that in a very short time I was able to communicate with my fellow students and make friends in a new country. Several years later, my oldest son came home from Stuart Russell School and asked me if I knew a Mrs. McLeod. I told him no and asked why he was inquiring. He told me that Mrs. McLeod had called him Eric, and he explained that that was what was his father's name, however. Every so often she would call him by his name and then by my name. I asked him to ask Mrs. McLeod what her maiden name was, thinking that might twig something for me. The following day he came home with a note that read, "In 1952, I taught a little German boy at Albert School. Could this be you?" A few months later, I had the opportunity again to meet Mrs. Eckelberger, or Mrs. McLeod, at the school open house. Mrs. Eckelberger's extra effort in teaching a young immigrant child made all the difference in my future of becoming a well-rounded and productive citizen of Canada. Thank you, Mrs. McLeod, for your extra efforts in my start in Canada.
And Mr. Muth was also recognized, and Mr. Muth was my math teacher at Belford Tech. Although I loved math, I had great difficulty in mastering algebra. Mr. Muth took the time after classes to offer help to those students who were having difficulty. If it would not have been for his extra effort and giving of his own time, I probably would have not grasped this subject. He donated his own time to help those with difficulties. Some years back, I met Mr. Muth at the Regina airport and was amazed that he was able to immediately recognize me and call me by name. Thank you, Mr. Muth, for your support in helping me overcome my difficulties. Thank you.